Hi, hello again. Welcome to today's class. I'm sure you're ready for today's class. So, when should I get married? Maybe you're thinking about this, and this question is just, you're just thinking about it. When should I get married? When exactly? Now, not to worry, you're going to get a whole lot of all the answers you'll be needing in this class. The age to get married and how you would start up a relationship, a healthy one, please, with the opposite sex, so that you can be able to do what? Get married at the right time with the right person. Okay, now let's proceed. Today we are looking at a very, 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 very interesting topic, and we're looking at marriage. You guessed right. So we're looking at marriage. We'll be talking about marriage today, everything that has to do with marriage, when it's expected, and all of that. So let's get started. Now, before we proceed, there are some things you're going to be getting familiarized with in the course of this class. Now, these are referred to as specific objective. Now, by the end of this class, you should be able to enumerate the problems of unhealthy boy-girl relationship. Now, yes, a boy and a girl can be friends, but there is a healthy one, and there's one that's referred to as what? An unhealthy boy-girl relationship. So we're going to be looking at those unhealthy boy-girl relationship, and also we'll be looking at the guidelines for ensuring healthy boy-girl relationship. Maybe you don't know, there are ways you can go about it to have very healthy relationship with the opposite sex. Okay, now we're going to look at that so you can know more about it. And also we'll be looking at the activities involved in courtship. Now, just say maybe you're already having this healthy relationship with the opposite sex, boy, girl, and then you're thinking of getting married. Now, there's something they call courtship. You're going to be knowing what courtship is. So that's the process or the period when you get to know each other before you get married. So you're going to get to know about it. Then also we're going to identify the marriage systems and procedures in Nigeria. Yes, Nigeria has different types of marriages and their procedures. We're going to look at that in the course of this class. So don't go anywhere, just sit back, because it's going to be so exciting in the course of this class. Let's proceed. Now, so adolescence is the period of growing up. As you get to this stage, a whole lot has happened or is happening. There's a whole lot going on, and you're thinking of a whole lot of things. And you begin to get attracted to the opposite sex. You begin to see how beautiful a girl is looking, and the girl is also seeing how cute and handsome the guys are looking. So at this point, it's very, very important you are taught about the issues of life as it relates to to sex, as it relates to courtship, as it relates to marriage, and as it relates to pregnancy. Because if you don't get it at this point in time, you might likely miss it. So it's very, very, very important. Adolescence is that period when you're already living childhood. That's the end of childhood, and then you're beginning adulthood. So you need to know all that it entails to be an adult, because you're no longer going to be classified or looked at as a child. So you have to be fully prepared. So this is what is going to be happening today in this class. Now let's look at the problems of unhealthy boy-girl relationship. Unhealthy boy-girl relationship. And now a boy-girl relationship should be made as wholesome and healthy as possible. Now, what do we mean wholesome? Conducive. It must be accommodating, healthy. That's what we mean. So if you're going to be in a relationship or be friends with the opposite sex, you have to make it wholesome. You have to be in a conducive environment and make it very, very healthy. Now, unwholesome and unhealthy boy-girl relationship can result in a whole lot of problems. It comes with a lot of issues. So we're going to be looking at those issues. Now, some of the issues that come with unhealthy boy-girl relationship is that it leads you to unwholesome indulgence into sexual activities or relationship, and then which is not supposed to be so. And then also you're going to lack self-discipline and respect. When a boy and a girl is involved in an unhealthy relationship, you lack respect, self-respect for the girl, for the boy. It's not there anymore. So that's one thing that happens when there is unhealthy boy-girl relationship. Also, there is the risk of sexually transmitted disease. So when you involve in an unhealthy boy-girl relationship that leads you to indulging in sex, you are being prone to doing having yourself sexually infected, either with other STIs or HIV/AIDS, which is deadly, and you can never tell who is infected or not. So these are the problems, some of the problems of unhealthy boy-girl relationship. And also teenage pregnancy. Now the girls are really vulnerable because when they involve or get indulged in sexual activities with the opposite sex, now the girl is going to get pregnant if the sex is unprotected, and then this can cause a whole lot of issues for that girl child, and it can lead to dropping out from school. It can end or terminate her education as long as she's going to be having the baby, because at that point she can't do anything with the baby. She can't want to terminate it. She would have to have the baby, so it will obstruct her education. She won't have to proceed with her education. So these are some of the problems. There are a whole lot of them. Okay, so these are some of the problems of an unhealthy boy-girl relationship. And now let's look at guidelines for healthy and wholesome boy-girl relationship. Now, what does this take? Now, wholesome boy-girl relationship can be long-lasting. You can be friends with the opposite sex and nothing is happening if you can be able to define it. If you're able to say what is expected in the relationship. Now, when people are sincere, you're in school and then you're in a relationship, you're being friends with your classmates, your neighbors, and a whole lot of that. Now, when you're sincere with each other and you have similar interests, no, we're not involving in sex. There's nothing we're doing that's other than, just saying hi, talking, life issues, and then, relating casually. Other than this, it's unhealthy. Now, when you share similar interests, and then as you progress, going to the university, from secondary school to university, and then you find out that you really like this person, you like hanging around this person, you can always call this person to speak or talk to the person, and then as you progress, that relationship you have with this person that is healthy can result into marriage in the future. Yes, you can have to get married to that person that you've known. Of course, you have to be friends with people before you get to say, I want to spend, the rest of my life with them. Because if you're not friends with them, you can't just meet people and then the person says, I want to get married. You have to see that you share same or similar interests with the person before you can start talking about marriage. So when you have wholesome boy-girl relationship with the opposite sex, then it can now progress into friendship, and it can even lead to doing you guys getting married in the future. Now, also, some of the benefits is that adolescents should choose friends who have good character. Now, if you're going to be being friends with the opposite sex, make sure you're selective. Okay, you have to choose friends who have good character, that are not vulgar, they don't talk anyhow, use foul words and all of that. So languages and all of that, you have to be intentional when you're choosing your friends, because you never can tell what can happen in the process. Now, they should seek their parents' approval of their friends. Now, if you have friends, you must always seek the approval of your parents. Okay, let mommy and daddy know your friends. Let them know who you're hanging around with in school. It's very, very important. Okay, now parents have this way of discerning some things that you cannot see. So let your mommy and daddy see who your friends are and make an approval of them. Okay, now friends should learn about each other's family. You should be able to know your friends' family and then where they're from. You should be able to also discuss freely with your parents. Okay, now when you talk, you should be able to discuss with mommy and daddy, tell them about your friends. Now, if you don't have anything fishy, if you don't have anything to hide, you don't have any reason to be secretive. Okay, now you can, oh mommy, there's this boy in my class, it's just friendly, he's nice, and then he's just good. Be open-minded, you talk to mommy and daddy, and then they could guide you and put you in the right way when some things are going wrong. So you should be open-minded to talk to mommy and daddy about some issues. Now, also, friends should be free to visit each other. You shouldn't sneak to go to a boy's house. You shouldn't sneak to go to a girl's house. Make yourself known to the parents. Make yourself known to the family if you do not have any ulterior motives, okay? So now you should be able to visit your friends' homes, and mommy and daddy should be able to know who you're really hanging around with. This can be able to let them know or see if there are possible problems, because if you don't do that and then you're saying, okay, let's meet somewhere, then there's a possibility that something can go wrong or may go wrong. So if you're in your environment, in the home where others are, even if there's any such imagination or thinking, it might likely not occur, because that environment is not safe for such acts to take place. I'm sure you understand what I'm saying. Okay, now let's progress. Now, courtship. Courtship is a process of relationship which leads to marriage. Now, having been friends, practicing healthy boy-girl relationship with the opposite sex, now you've come to know this person over time, and then you've progressed into being friends. You get to talk to each other over time, and then you now come to the realization and say, oh, fine, we're not adults, I think we can get married at this point in time. Then that process is referred to as what? Courtship. Now, courtship period is the time during when the young man and woman intending to get married get to know each other better, okay? Now, they get to closely relate with each other and know each other better. Now, they don't have to talk about things as far, what your likes are, the dislikes, and then what you want, and what they tend to talk as per, because they are going to be getting married. They are looking at getting married. So that period is courtship. So that period, they will get to know about each other's family, their religion, their tribe, and everything. And it's at that point they would discuss everything they want to happen in their marriage, how many children they want to have, the sexes they want, and all of that. They say 2 boys, 2 girls, all those type of discussion. These are all the things you discuss in courtship, not anything else. And their life ambitions, what they want to be in the next 5 years, what they want to see in the next 6 years, 10 years, 15 years. All these are dreams they would put in together when they are in what? Courtship. Not to be involved in unhealthy things. Now, let's look at the characteristics or features or activities involved with courtship. Now, there are some things that are expected of you when you're in courtship with the opposite sex. Now, they determine how well suited they are going to go into a long-lasting relationship. At this point in time, you're going to be looking at, this person I'm going to be spending the rest of my life with, am I really wanting to do this? You're going to be making that decision in this period of courtship, because you're going to be discussing, you're going to be noticing some things about the person when you are in courtship. So at this point in time, you're going to be realizing and saying, is it really worth it? Should I proceed, or should I just back out with what you would have been able to know? The person's lifestyle, does it match or fit what you want in a man or a woman? So these are the things you would be able to ascertain in the period of courtship. These are some of the characteristics. And also, you get to find out how each other is accepted in others' family. Now, this is very important. A lot of people, in the process of courtship, the boy takes the girl to the house, and then the mom says, oh, no, everybody says, I don't like her, we don't want her. And then, you're wondering why. At this point in time, if it's something that is not workable and they are not giving reasons, or they are giving reasons, maybe because of where she's from and then the way she acts, sometimes they know some things about her that you don't know, and then they give all of these instances. Same thing for the opposite sex, okay? Now, they give some of these instances, and then you still say, okay, I still want to go in. And then you go in, and then because of the marriage, and then something happens, it's a lot more worse when it happens in the marriage. But in the course of the courtship, you can actually break a courtship. There's a saying that goes that a broken courtship is better than a broken marriage. So when you are able to find out, so if some of these things that your family members are saying, or the family says they don't want, if they are through, then you can move on. But if they're really not too serious and you feel it's something you can work with, then you can go ahead to getting married to this person. And also at this point in time, when you're in courtship, you get to learn each other's customs, traditions, their way of life, and all of that. You get to know the food of the different types of food they eat, from their different culture, traditions, and all of that. Now, this can be very, very taxing, okay? Now, is this something you want to go into? Now, of course, the customs and culture. I remember a friend telling me that she wanted to marry someone from a particular state, but there was this bizarre tradition they had. It was something she couldn't deal with. So she said no, because of that, she had to call off the courtship. Now, this is for that person. If it was something she was going to be able to work with, then she would have moved on. But for some persons, if it's something that is not workable, then just back out rather than going in and saying, no, I will not do it. But you knew about this customs and traditions. So it's better, it's at this point, you must find out these traditions and cultures. So you don't go in and you just wake up to something you had never heard before and then you're wondering. So it's at the point of courtship, you do your investigation so you can be able to know. And also, another characteristics of or features associated with courtship is that you discuss future plans. You can see way into 20 years of your marriage, see way into 15 years of your marriage, your children, the number of children you want to have. These are all the things you discuss. How you want to live before you move in, and all of these things. These are the things you get to talk about in courtship. Now, marriage. Okay, after courtship, after the period of waiting and getting to know each other, something happens. Yes, the marriage. And then you're getting married. Now, marriage is the union of a man and a woman, or women. When we say women, when someone is polygamous and has husband and wives. Okay, so when two people come together after courtship and they say, okay, we're getting married, now they're forming a union. A contract is what? They are contracting a contract. And then to say together, okay, to their doors path, we're going to be together all the days of our life. So that is what happens after the period of what? Courtship. Marriage is what happens. Now we're going to look at factors to consider when choosing a marriage partner. Now, these are things that are very, very important. The first one is age. Now, the partners should be old enough for marriage. They should be old enough for marriage, not early marriage. And then you should look at the age difference when you need to get married. And also you should look at for character. One should choose a partner with a reputable character, not one that has dented his character, or one that is you can vouch for them. Their yes is not yes, their no is not no. So you should be able to know who this person is. And also, very important factor now when choosing your partner is that you should be able to know their health status. Okay, now the health status is very, very important. You should be able to know what their health stand is, their health status. So partners that are intending to get married must go for medical checkup. They must go for medical checkup, and they should do simple tests such as genotype examination, and to know their genotype, which is very, very important. This is very, very important because you're going to be bringing in children into the world. So if you do not know your genotype and you just, I love this person, let's just get married without finding that, you can be causing a whole lot harm to the unborn children than for the love you express for each other, which could cause you pain and even cause you the marriage. So genotype examination or test is very, very important, and genetic counseling is very, very important. This is because it will enable you to avoid bearing or prevent the bearing of C-class, okay, the SS carriers. This is very, very important in our days. It's very, very important to take note of this when people are getting married. Now let's just go a little bit into biology, okay? Now let's look at the different types of genotypes we have. We have the AA, that these are the non-carriers of the sickle cell symptoms of sellers. They don't carry it. Okay, now these people can marry anybody. Okay, they can marry anybody. Now we have the AS. They are the harmless carriers of sickle cell. They are the harmless carriers of sickle cell. They don't. These persons can marry someone who is an A. Okay, but they cannot marry someone who is AS or SS. Okay, the only people that can marry anybody is one who is A. But AS, they are harmless carriers of A, but they need to be on the lookout when they want to get married. They need to be on the lookout. Now, then the SS, these are the actual sickle sellers, okay? Now, these people are the actual sickle sellers. They'll have to merge. Now, it is only someone who is AA that can actually get married to these people. Now, there are a whole lot of issues when you do not check your genotype and you're going into marriage and having children. How would you imagine seeing your child? I've seen some persons who are sickle cell carriers. I see the pain they go through when they are having their crisis. Now, some of them go as far as having this hatred for their parents, because if you had checked and known this, you shouldn't have brought me here to suffer for this pain. I'm sure you don't want your child to be having this grudge for a lifetime over you because you say you love someone and you're not minding or checking out your genotype. Some people even know and they say, oh, I love this person, we can't go back. Okay, I think with prayers and all of that, you can find someone who would love you more than the person that is loving you now. So you would consider your children's life. And at the end, I remember losing someone very, very dear to this because she was a sickle cell carrier. So please, it is very, very important. And another test that is very, very important is the HIV test. Okay, very, very important. You need to know the health status of the person you want to get married to. Okay, now HIV/AIDS patients should not marry a non-patient, someone who is HIV that is positive. Okay, another factors you should consider is love. Love is very important, okay? Persons intending to get married should love each other. You must love the person you're getting married to. Another thing is that you should look out for is compatibility. Yes, you might not be 100% accurate at this point in time, but there are some things you should do. What you should be able to share similar interests, likes, dislikes at some point, okay? You shouldn't be opposite at every end, okay? There's some things you must share to, like, okay, we're good in this aspect, okay? Even if we're not good in all other aspects, there must be a balance when it comes to that. Another thing is parental concept, okay? It is important, very, very important for partners to seek and obtain parents' consent before marriage, okay? Not the one you just say, okay, since they don't want to accept, let's go to one court and go somewhere. Let me elope with this young man or this young girl and go somewhere and get married. No, it is no, don't do that, okay? Seek parental consent and then see that they are in approval of the person you have chosen to spend the rest of your life with. Why not? It's more better to be in unity and in peace with your parents when you're going to get married, okay? Because everybody's supposed to be happy because you're getting married. Another one is background. You need to do a background check, okay? Background check. It's wise for a person to choose a partner who has the same background, religious, social, educational, etc., etc. Now, sometimes this is not so accurate, but at least the person's background should matter. It should matter. You, as an educated person, should not be looking at going for an illiterate, because there's going to be a problem, okay? Because the person will say, oh, you're too educated, you're not respecting me, you're not doing this, you're not doing that. So you need to consider a whole lot of this, because a lot of people have had a lot of experiences with these that have cost the marriage. So you need to look at the background, okay? The person's social life, the person's religious life, and all of that, if it's something you can work with. Now, let's look at the marriage system in Nigeria. Okay, Nigeria is made up of different ethnic groups. Each ethnic group often has its own marriage system. Now, every ethnic group has the pattern and way they carry out their marriage procedures, okay? Now, it depends on their tradition, their religion, and all of that. Now, Nigeria is one place that have different types of marriage. Okay, now we want to look at the common ones that we have in Nigeria. Okay, let's look at some of them. We have the traditional or customary marriage. Now this one is it differs. It depends on your own tradition, where you're coming from, and what you people do here. Now, this is a marriage entered into according to the native and laws and customs of these particular areas and places. Okay. Now, there are traditional marriages, customs such as that of the Igbos, the Yorubas, Hausas, Edos, the Ijos, Efiks, etc., etc. We have a whole lot of ethnic groups in Nigeria. So now it depends on how you people run or do your traditional right. Now, there are different types of traditional marriage. Is either you're monogamous or polygamous. Now, monogamous is when the man marries only one wife, okay? He marries only one wife. Now, while polygamy, or when the man is going to be polygamous, is when he marries more than one wife. So he has more wives. That is to say, the person is what? Polygamous. Okay, it is also a common practice for people to perform the traditional rites first before progressing or proceeding to church marriage or court marriage. Now, you must, first things first, make sure you're okay with performing your traditional rites before you now proceed into doing what? Going for church marriage and a court marriage and all of that. The traditional rites must be what? Have been concluded before you proceed, not to just say, okay, I'm not doing this one, I just want to go here. It's not done. If you're African and you're Nigerian, you must first of all make sure the traditional rites are what? Carried, done, and dusted before you can now proceed into what? Church marriage or the court marriage. And also, we also have this other one referred to as a marriage order under the ordinance. This is also referred to as what? The court marriage. Okay, because it is contracted what? In the court or a court registry. Now, this also is one other way where people can get married if you don't intend going to have your church wedding or any other type of wedding, but you must do the traditional one. Then you can just proceed to what? Having your court wedding after the traditional marriage. Now let's look at characteristics or features of the marriage under the ordinance. That's the court marriage. What are the characteristics of this type of marriage? Now, it is monogamous form of marriage. That means if you're going to be getting married under the ordinance, if you're going to be getting married in the courts, that means you're saying, I am going to be getting married to only this woman and to only this man. Now, any other thing that happens without you keeping to these terms and agreements is going to be referred to as a bigamy if you're not properly divorced after what? Getting married to this person. So you cannot be a traditionalist at this point in time to say, okay, an African man is polygamous in nature, like they say, and then you want to now go and get married while you're still married after getting married in the court. Now, if you do that, you're going to be sued for what? Bigamy, because this type of marriage says you're going to be sticking to this woman or you're going to be sticking to this man. It's a monogamous type of marriage. It doesn't entertain polygamy whatsoever. Now, also, it is provided by government and open to all religious sects and tribes. It doesn't matter what part of the country you're from, state and your tribe, you can always go to a court to get married. Okay, there are no restrictions when it comes to that. And also, a marriage ordinance certificate is given to the couple who marries this way. Now, when you get married this way, a certificate is given to you. That certificate, you can take it, you can travel with it, you can go anywhere with it. And that certificate too also should be kept properly, because as you progress, if anything goes wrong or happens, that certificate can do a whole lot in the marriage as well. So these are some of the characteristics of what getting married in a court. Okay, church marriage is another type of marriage that is contracted. Okay, now this type of marriage is the difference between the court marriage is that this type of marriage is contracted in the church. Okay, it's a form of marriage under ordinance as well, but it's contracted in the church. Now, a lot of people do court marriage and then the church marriage. It's not out of place, okay? You can do that as well. Then we have the Muslim or Islamic marriage. Now, this is contracted in the way stipulated by Islam. Now, for the Muslim men, women, they can actually get married in the way this was designed as it should be for Islam. And also now Islamic, let's not forget earlier to say for the church marriage, this the marriage under ordinance that is taken that takes place in the church, it's just for it's a one man, it's monogamous in nature. This means that you can only marry one woman or one man. Okay, now back to the Muslim or Islamic marriage. Now the Muslim men are allowed to marry more than one wife. They're allowed to marry more than one wife. Now it's a polygamous form of marriage. The men can marry more than one wife. So if you're going to be getting married to a Muslim man, so be open-minded that this man, their religion or their marriage custom says they can marry more than one wife. But in a Christian or church marriage, if a man says he wants to get married to more than one wife, there's going to be an eyebrow raised because it is not acceptable or obtainable in that aspect. Now let's look at the disadvantages of early marriage. Disadvantages of early marriage. Now the government approved age of marriage in Nigeria is 18 years. 18 years. Yes, 18 years. But at that point in time, a lot of people are in school. So I don't see anybody thinking of getting married at that age. Now most of these things are done due to some personal reasons, by our leaders, okay? Now, at that point in time, at 18 years, you should be in school studying. That should be what you should be thinking of, not thinking of marriage at that point in time. So some students are supposed to be in school at that point in time at age 18 to be studying. Okay, however, some persons get married earlier than before the age of 18. Now that can be referred to as what? Early marriage. Some persons get married earlier than 18. 18 is the approved age to get married, but some persons get married earlier than 18. So that can be considered as what? Early marriage, which is not okay to happen for whatever reason. That is early marriage. Now, some of the disadvantages is that they stand the risk of marital instability and marriage failure. Because you're not prepared emotionally, mentally, you don't even have a clue of what you're going into, okay? So it could cause a whole lot of marital instability, because you're not understanding anything that is going to be happening in there. Now this can happen and it will lead to what? The marriage failure, and then they go their separate ways because they don't understand anything that is happening there. That they might not be properly equipped to handle marriage challenges. Now marriage comes with a lot of challenges. If you're not prepared, if you're not ready for it, you can be thrown off balance. So when you are not of age and then you get married, you might not be able to cope with all the baggages that comes with what? Marriage. Now also their education might be disrupted, early marriage, because at that point in time you're supposed to be in school, for goodness sake, you're supposed to be learning, and then you're thinking of getting married and having a baby. You're not going to further your education, except it's going to happen long way when children are already grown up. And why would you want to waste your life and time in that way? Okay, now you need to follow procedures and do the right thing at the right time. Also, they might not afford decent accommodation. Okay, now when you're going to be getting married, at least you're going to be living comfortable. Now if you're going to be doing it early, you might not be able to live that or give yourself that minimum comfort because you're not financially capable to provide the needs as to take care of yourself, the child, and to get a decent accommodation. So this can be a problem. Another one is that their childbearing practices will be inadequate. Okay, you do not have any form of experience. Early marriage means you're a baby. So a child is going to be raising a child. You too, you still need tutoring, you still need to be taken care of, and then you're going to be bringing a child to take care of. So who is going to be taking care of each other? Okay, so your child rearing practices will not be adequate. They're going to be lapses, and sometimes these are the types of children that causes a whole lot of issues in our society because they are not raised properly by mothers or fathers that are properly matured to have them. Then also they could become burdens to their parents. Now you're a child to someone, and then we're going to be bringing another child. Okay, now you're going to bring that child to be a burden to your own parents, because you too, you're a burden to them, and then you're going to bring an extra burden to them. So it is not necessary. All of these are not necessary. Children are supposed to be blessings, okay? And then when you have them too early and then you're not prepared for them, they can be a whole lot of distraction, and then sometimes not too good experience for you. So you don't want to experience all of that. So why would you want to do that? You have to avoid unhealthy and unprotected sex, so you won't have to bring children that you look at them and you get angry instead of being very happy because you were blessed with them. So let's go to Examguide and practice some questions we have learned today. Okay, let's look at this question. The legal union between a man and a woman is referred to as A. Now, don't forget the word there. The legal union between a man and a woman is referred to as A. We have dating. B. We have engagement. C. We have marriage. D. We have cohabitation. E. We have courtship. Okay? Now, is it dating? Is that legal? Union between a man and a woman? No. Engagement? That's not the answer. Now, cohabitation, to cohabit with someone, that means to live with the person without doing anything. Okay, that is not legal. You're just living with someone without doing anything, taking any action. And courtship, no. So marriage is the legal union between a man and a woman. Okay, so it's referred to as marriage. So our answer here is C, which is marriage, because it is legal union between a man and a woman. Okay, let's look at this question. The purpose of courtship is to, A, we have afford partners the opportunity to know more about love. B, allow partners to come into physical contact. C, enable partners to understand each other. D, stay close to each other's family. E, to test for fertility. Okay, now these points have been stated out here. Now, the purpose of courtship. What's the purpose of courtship? I'm sure you remember what we talked about courtship, or what courtship is. Okay, we said it is that period of what? Okay, we have the answer here. Let's look. Is it to afford partners the opportunity to know more about love? No, that's not the reason why you're courting. That's part of it, but that's not the reason. To allow partners to come into physical contact, no, that's not the time to be involved in what? Sex, like we talked about. Okay, enable partners to understand each other. Yes, that is the correct answer. You know, when you're courting, you get to know and understand each other better. You know the likes and dislikes of this person, okay? And the rest of all the things. So the answer here is what? C, to enable partners to understand each other. That's the period of courtship. Should be able to know what the person likes and the family and all of that.